It's back to school season, and if you're freaking out what you're going to serve for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, lunch boxes, I've got you covered. From microwave breakfast and portable snacks to homemade lunchbox favorites, sheet pan pizza for busy nights, and a treat for the end of the day because you deserve it. So let's start out with the most important meal of the day, breakfast. Hi Bowl Bakers! So the summer is almost over, and whether you're heading back to school, to college or to work, you will go hungry in the mornings no more, because I've got 5 sweet and savoury breakfasts in a mug for you. So let's get microwaving. The beauty of these recipes is that they can all be made up the night before and kept in the fridge. And not only can they be cooked in the microwave, they can also be cooked in a toaster oven as well. For our first recipe, there is no griddle needed. It's a pancake in a mug. In a microwavable mug, we're going to add in our flour and our baking soda and then mix them together. To this, we're going to add in our egg, milk, flavourless oil, and maple syrup or honey, and then whisk until smooth. Blueberry pancakes are my favourite, so I'm going to add in some frozen blueberries to my batter, but you can add in any flavour or fruit you like. Before you know it, you're going to have a lovely warm breakfast. Now, the timing I give for cooking is based on my microwave, which is 1200 watts. So depending on the wattage of your microwave, your timing may vary. And as always, all of my recipes and instructions can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com. Our pancake in a mug took no time at all, and we didn't even need a griddle. It smells lovely, it looks fantastic, the blueberries have all burst and they're a lovely colour. Just before I try it, I'm going to garnish the top. I like to add even more blueberries on top, and it is a must to pour over maple syrup. This looks lovely and it took no time at all. This is only our first mug breakfast, so let's move on to the next one. My next breakfast in a mug is my very first savoury mug recipe, and that's sweet potato hash. Peel your sweet potato and cut it into small cubes. You want small cubes because they cook much faster in the microwave. I'm using a sweet potato because they're really good for you, but you can also use just a regular potato. Next, add your sweet potatoes into your microwavable mug and then cover them with cold water. Now I'm going to put these sweet potatoes in the microwave and cook them. It works really well and fast. You just have to cook them for a few minutes. After a few minutes, you'll know your sweet potatoes are cooked because they go a bright orange colour and are tender in the middle. Now we're just going to strain the water off our potatoes and add in the rest of the ingredients for our hash. So this is not a complicated recipe. Just go to your fridge, see what little bits you have in there and add it to your sweet potatoes. I had peppers, a little bit of red onion, some rosemary, grated cheese and butter. Now mix all these lovely flavours together. So this is what my mum would call a mix and gatherum, which means pretty much whatever you have in your fridge. You can really always make a meal. Not only does the potato hash look gorgeous, but it smells fantastic too. So all we want to do is pop this in our microwave and heat up all of these ingredients together, get them nice and warm, get the cheese to melt. It's going to be delicious. Can you believe that we cooked this hash in the microwave? It looks beautiful, it smells great. Just before I try it, I'm going to add a little bit of extra stuff on top. I like to top my potato hash off with some more chopped rosemary and a fresh sprig on top. It just goes to show you, by being creative with a few ingredients, you can make a wonderful meal. This next recipe is truly a complete breakfast. It is high in protein, it has slow energy releasing carbs and has a little bit of sweetness. It is peanut butter and jelly oatmeal in a mug. In the microwavable mug, we're going to add in some rolled oats, water, some nut milk or regular milk, and peanut butter. And that's all you need. This is such a great recipe for back to school, and in the wintertime, oats are like central heating for kids. Oats are nature's fast food, so you no longer need to buy those little sachets that say quick cooking oats, because these are the guys that you want to use. When you cook your own recipes, you know exactly what's in there and you can make it just as fast. Once you see your oats start to heat up, stop the microwave and give them a little stir, because if you don't, they have a tendency to get too hot and overflow. Our oats are done. I can smell the lovely warm peanut butter, but this breakfast is not complete until we add on our jelly. To serve my oatmeal, I like to add extra chopped peanuts on top, which give really good texture. And of course, this dish would not be complete without some jelly. This sweet and almost salty combination works really well. If you're thinking to yourself that you're not the biggest peanut butter and jelly fan, then I challenge you to try this, because it's more like a decadent dessert than it is an oaty breakfast. Our next breakfast in a mug is a lovely whole wheat, egg-free banana and raisin muffin. In a microwavable mug, add in your banana and mash it up really fine. I like to use banana as a substitute for egg, and you can also use applesauce. To the mashed banana, I'm going to add in the rest of the muffin ingredients. Whole wheat flour, cinnamon, baking powder, salt, milk, and maple syrup. You can also use honey or agave. Then mix all of these ingredients well together. Now just add your raisins and gently fold them in. I like to add a few extra on top for colour. This little healthy breakfast muffin cooks just like my other mug cakes. Be careful not to overcook him or he'll get rubbery, so just keep a little close eye on him. Our lovely little breakfast muffin is done and it smells fantastic with all that lovely warm cinnamon. This is a really great breakfast because it's made with whole wheat and all natural sugars. To decorate our muffin, I like to add some sliced banana on top and dust it with some cinnamon for extra flavour. This muffin is a perfect little sweet treat for breakfast, but before I fill up on this guy, I want to show you one more savoury breakfast in a mug. Our next breakfast in a mug is something that my mum showed me how to make when I was a very young girl. I've been making it for all these years. It's an omelette in a mug. In a large microwavable mug, add in your eggs, salt, pepper, chopped scallions, some chopped parsley, and a little bit of milk. If you don't want to use milk, you can always use water to keep it dairy-free. If you've got eggs in your fridge, you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you should have no reason to go hungry. Our easy omelette is ready. Now, eggs cook so fast in the microwave. All you have to do is give them a little bit of a stir while they're cooking. You can see how far they're gone, and you can cook them to perfection. If you like them nice and soft, that's the way you can have them. Our omelette is done and it looks great. Now you know how to make fast, hot eggs for yourself every morning. This delicious omelette does not need a lot, so I'm going to add a little few extra scallions on top and some freshly chopped parsley. This omelette, scrambled eggs, even poached eggs, you can do it all in a microwave, so I really urge you to try this out. No matter what your appetite or flavour, sweet or savoury, these breakfasts in a mug are guaranteed to hold you over until lunch and save you loads of time. Okay, so breakfast is sorted, but back to school season is all about snacks. All I hear all day long is, "Mom, snack!" What do we do for snacks? I've got some fantastic homemade recipes that you are going to love that are easy to make. Hi bold bakers, I know it is back to school time, but I am going to brighten your day with my no-bake granola bars. They are perfect for lunch boxes and afternoon snacks. So let's get started. So here's what's fantastic about these granola bars. We're going to make one base recipe, and then from that you can make any flavor you want. I'm going to show you some of my favorites, but first we're going to make the base for the granola bars. So in a large bowl, we're going to add in some oats. Rolled oats or quick cooking oats work perfectly. And then into the oats, we're going to add in some Rice Krispies. Generally, I always have these in my house. So those are the simple dry ingredients for the base. Now we're going to move on to the wet ingredients. So into another bowl, we're going to add in some butter, brown sugar. If you don't have brown sugar, you can use white, but brown sugar is preferable. And then some liquid sugar. I'm using honey. You can use agave, maple syrup, any liquid sugar. So our next step is to pop this into the microwave, or you can put it into a small saucepan, and you want to let it simmer up for around 2 minutes. It will create a nice caramel, and then we'll put that onto our dry ingredients. So our little caramel is out of the microwave. It smells delicious. So to this, you want to add in a little bit of salt. Salt just helps to bring out all of the lovely flavors of the ingredients that you're going to put into it. And then I'm also going to add in a little bit of vanilla extract. Now this is optional in case you don't have it or you don't want to add it in, but it does add a lovely bit of flavor, a nice little kick to your bars. Just want to give them a mix in, and then we're just going to pour it straight over our oats and our rice. Ooh, look at that. Gorgeous. Once your caramel is in there, you want to give it a good mix until it all comes together. And there you go. This is the base for our chewy granola bars. It absolutely takes no time to make it all. I'm going to give it a little taste. Oh, it's so yummy. The texture is really nice. I can taste a little bit of salt and vanilla. So I'm going to show you how you can turn this into a lot of different flavors. We're going to start out by making a nut and raisin bar. Into my granola bar base, I'm going to add in some toasted chopped nuts. Now here I am using almonds because I love almonds, but you can use any kind of nut that you like. Make sure they're toasted because it just gives such a better flavor. Next is our dried fruit, and I'm using raisins. Dried fruit is high in nutrients. Because there's no water, they're even more dense. So they're really good. And then lastly, I'm going to add in some unsweetened coconut. I adore coconut. And then just give that a big mix around. Make sure that everything gets combined well. These granola bars are fantastic when you need a boost of energy after school, for lunch, whatever it is. Oats are great because they're full of energy and they're slow releasing, so it'll keep you going throughout the day. That's it, all mixed up. And as you can see, no baking, no machines, all done by hand in minutes. So now I'm going to put this mix into a tray. Line a small tray with parchment and then just pour in your granola. The mix might seem a little bit dry, but what you're going to do is press it into the tray. And you can feel then how sticky it is. Also, it firms up when it goes cold. That's how you get those nice bars. You might want to use a spatula or a palette knife and just press it in nice and firm to get an even layer. I like big thick bars, but you can spread this out thinner if you would like. Now in true bigger bolder baking fashion, I'm going to sprinkle some more ingredients on top and a few toasted almonds and some raisins. And then just give those guys a little bit of a press down. Our granola bars are looking great and they're smelling great, but now it's time to pop them into the fridge to let them set. It takes around 2 hours. So you've got to have a peanut butter and jelly granola bar considering this is back to school. So it's really, really easy to make. The only difference is into your wet mix of butter and brown sugar and honey, we are going to add in some peanut butter. You can use smooth or chunky, whatever you like. You also don't have to use peanut butter. You can use any nut butter. And then just give him a mix in until he almost kind of melts into the ingredients. There you go. And then just like before, pour your wet into your dry. Into this bar, I'm also going to add some toasted peanuts. Give nice extra texture, a little bit of bite, and then just mix it all together. You guys have been requesting granola bars, I'd say since I started the channel. So it's definitely about time that I made them. So we've got our peanut butter in here, but let me show you where the jelly comes into it all. So go ahead and scoop half of your peanut butter granola mix into your prepared tray. Press it down with the spatula until you get a nice thin layer. So then for my favorite part, the jelly. Choose any kind of jelly you want, it's up to you. I usually have raspberry or strawberry. And then we're just going to do a very thin layer on top of these oats. Just spread out your jam until it's a nice even layer. Once your jam is on there, then go ahead and put on the rest of the oat mix. Be careful not to squish down too much so your jam doesn't come out. If your jam is a little bit runny, you can always pop your tray into the fridge as well and let it set before you put on your other layer. To add a little extra something to these bars, I'm just going to sprinkle some more chopped toasted peanuts on top. Just as I'm finishing off these bars, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, make sure you do so. We've got new mug meals coming soon, and we also have fantastic holiday recipes coming up, so you don't want to miss out on any of them. Okay, that's it, we're done. You can see some jam coming out the side there. This guy is ready for the fridge. So another delicious granola bar is double chocolate. Sounds like heaven. It's really easy. All you want to do is into your wet ingredients, very similar to peanut butter, we're going to add in some good quality unsweetened cocoa powder. And then just give it a good mix in. And then straight into your dry ingredients. Also for extra chocolate, because no one will say no to that, I like to add in some chocolate morsels. Make sure that they are good quality. And then just like the others, mix them all together until everything is combined. Sometimes these mixes seem a little bit dry, but just keep on mixing until all your oats are hydrated. Everything is covered in a delicious layer of yumminess. And remember, all of my recipes, along with other snack ideas, can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com. Okay, this is well mixed, it's nice and stiff. So now we're just going to press it into our tray. And then just press it down evenly all the way to the edges. And because you can never have enough, I'm going to sprinkle some more chocolate chips on top. So this guy now is ready for the fridge. My granola bars have been in the fridge for a few hours. They're nice and firm. So now I'm going to cut them so you can have a look. Cut them into whatever sizes you like. Remember that they are filling, so they don't have to be huge. The granola bars stay fresh in an airtight container for up to 5 days. You can put them in the fridge or leave them out at room temperature. Okay, because I just made the chocolate one, I'm going to get that taste. It is rich and decadent and chocolatey. This is gorgeous. And the best thing about it is there's all these lovely oats in there, the rice, great ingredients. They are a great way to start your day, end your day, or any time in between. Homemade snacks are great, but what if you could make homemade versions of some of your favorite lunchbox classics? Well, we're going to do just that. Do you want to learn how to make America's favorite crackers, Cheez-Its, Wheat Thins, and Ritz? I'm going to show you how. First cracker on our list is Cheez-Its. I love these crackers because they're loaded full of fresh cheddar. They're buttery, they're crumbly, they're absolutely delicious. We're going to make this cracker in a food processor because we want to blend up that cheese really well. So into our food processor, like I said, we're going to add in our cheese. For some reason, I love red cheddar. I know it doesn't taste different, but I feel like it does, and it like melts differently and everything. I just love it, but you can use any type of cheddar you like. Then we have our flour and a little bit of salt. Now all I want to do is just blend this up for around 15 seconds or so until the cheese is nice and finely ground. Lovely, this is what we're looking for. I kind of like orange flour, nice and fine. Now into here, we're going to add in our cold cubed butter. And then again, on with our hat and just blend it for a few seconds until you're gonna get coarse breadcrumbs. There you go. A little bit coarser than before.
So this is why it's really important to have cold butter in your crackers, because softened or even warm butter will not work. It'll make your dough greasy. What we want is cold butter, which will give us those lovely kind of little airy pockets in our crackers. So this is looking good. Now, lastly, here we have some ice cold water. I'm going to run the machine. I'm slowly going to drizzle this in, and I'm going to stop when I see that my dough is coming together. There you go. You can hear it coming together before you actually see it. So this is what it's supposed to look like. If it's a little bit drier, that's totally fine. Doughs always get wetter as they sit. But look at that. A lovely orange, cheesy cracker dough. I always say this for my bold bakers out there, when you're making doughs, pastries, breads, when your dough cleans the bowl, just like that, it means you have like the perfect amount of liquid in there. So I'm very happy with that. Now, here is our dough. It's looking good. I'm going to wrap this up in some cling wrap, and we are going to chill it. Now, for those of you who are wondering, can you make this dough by hand? Yes, you can, and you can chop up your cheese as fine as possible, but for best results, do it on a food processor if possible. A cracker dough ready to go. We're going to pop this into the fridge, let it chill for around an hour, and then it'll be ready to roll out. So before you roll out your crackers, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. So I found the easiest way to roll out these crackers is to do it straight on the parchment. So here I have a little bit of flour on my parchment. I've got my cracker. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on top of that. And then just roll out as thin as you can to around, you're talking roughly 9 by 13 inches. So here's a fun fact about Cheez-It crackers that you might not have known. They've been around since the 1920s, so a really long time. And the flavor was based on a baked rarebit. Now, as far as I know, a rarebit is a Welsh dish, and it's kind of like a toasted sandwich, cheesy with a little bit of mustard, like really delicious. But that's where they got this flavor profile, was from a rarebit. Regardless where they got it from, it's absolutely delicious. So there you go, I got it as thin as I can. Now, if you want to, just give a little trim to any uneven edges and just get them straight. Now, grab your ruler, because we are going to be cutting crackers that are roughly around 1 inch by 1 inch squared. Now, if you want to make this dough in advance and freeze it, then that is totally fine. Or you can cut your crackers out, freeze those, and then bake them off fresh. Now that they're all cut, I take a little wooden skewer, the base of it, the flat part, and do a little hole in the middle, which is like that trademark look of a Cheez-It. Okay, lovely. These look great. I'm going to bring in my tray. I'm wondering, should I have done the cutting on the tray? Let's see how we get these on. Oh, lovely. Our oven just preheated. I heard it ping. So let's get these guys in there. So bake your Cheez-Its off for around 12 to 15 minutes until you know that they're baked, but you don't let them get too brown. Now, as they're baking, I like to bake off 1 tray at a time, just so you get like the perfect bake on them. So while they're baking, then just roll out the next tray and get it ready to go into the oven. Ah, look at these lovely little crackers. They smell amazing too, really cheesy and buttery and absolutely delicious. When you let these cool down, if you can wait that long, they will keep in an airtight container for up to a week. Oh my gosh, absolutely delicious. Let's move on to our next cracker. The next popular cracker we are going to make completely homemade is a Ritz cracker. I love these. They're bubbly and light and really buttery. They're so delicious. I'm delighted to be able to make these at home. Okay, so in a nice big bowl, we're going to add in our flour, baking powder, a little bit of sugar, and salt. Give those a little mix together. These crackers are so simple, just a few ingredients, and then they last in your cupboard for ages. You can even freeze the raw dough and then bake them off fresh whenever you want them with any of the crackers we're making here today. Next up is our cold butter. Now, just like the last cracker, you want it to be nice and cold and not softer at room temperature. So you can do this with a fork, or the easier thing to do is just go in with your fingers and rub it in, just like you're making a pastry or a crumble. This is the way that I learned from the nuns all those years ago in Ireland in home economics class. There we go, look at that. Do you see that? A few little lumps of butter in there. It has texture, it's kind of like coarse breadcrumbs a little bit. Now let's add in our oil. Just so you know, for the oil, you can use vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil. You can also use olive oil, which is a bit of a healthier oil and also has really good flavor. Okay, this is looking lovely. It's kind of lumpy. This is what we're going for. Now here again, we have some lovely cold water and we're just going to stir this in until our dough forms. And then just bring your dough together. There we go. Another ball of dough, another clean bowl. This is looking fantastic. This dough is a little bit soft. So what we are going to do is again, chill this just like our last one. So here we have our Ritz cracker dough, nice and chilled. I'm just gonna cut this in half. So I have a half to work with at each time. Flour my surface. This is a little bit of a wetter dough, so don't be shy with that flour. Okie dokie, now let's roll out this bad boy. So you want to roll this out until around 1/8 of an inch thick, but to be honest with you, I would say get it as thin as possible is your best gauge, because the thinner it is, the crisper your cracker, and also the bubblier your cracker. It'll just make it like so much nicer. I'm starting to see the countertop underneath my dough, so I think this is looking pretty good. Here I have around 1.5 inch cutter. I'm just gonna cut out my Ritz crackers and pop them on to my baking tray. Once they're all on a tray, I'm gonna take my skewer that I used for the other crackers and the pointy end this time, I'm just going to boop, 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 just so when they bake, they don't all puff up like little pockets. Once you've poked all your crackers, here I have a little bit of egg wash. And you just want to very gently just egg wash the crackers. This just makes them a lovely golden brown and shiny. If you don't do this, they look a little bit kind of dull. Lastly, we're going to sprinkle with a tiny bit of salt on top just to give them a little bit of extra flavor. Okie dokie, I'm excited for these ones. Let's get them into the oven. Bake your Ritz crackers at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. They love a hot oven. And you only want to bake them for around 10 minutes or until they're golden brown. These look lovely, golden brown. They puffed up a little bit, absolutely lovely. So here's what we want to do. While they're just hot out of the oven, I have some melted butter here. And you just want to brush them with the melted butter while they're still warm. It kind of soaks into the cracker, makes them extra shiny and makes them extra delicious. So don't miss that step. These look lovely, they're a great snack. They're so crisp, they taste amazing. Once they go cold, store them in an airtight container for up to a week. Okay, we're gonna set these aside and we're gonna get started on our wheat thins. We've already done 2 amazing crackers. Now this next one is one of my favorite to have with a little wedge of cheese on it. I love this recipe, also great to put in George's lunchbox. In a nice big bowl, I'm going to add in my whole wheat flour, a little bit of regular flour. We're going to cut that whole wheat flour with a little bit of regular, some salt, and a little bit of sugar. Mixy mixy with our fork. I swear one of the most common tools I use in the kitchen is a fork. Now, just like before, cubed cold butter, in it goes. Now you can do this with a fork, or you can just get straight down to business and go in with your hands. It's just so much easier. When baking, I love to get my hands dirty. You can just really tell what's going on so much better. So there you go. Very similar to the other crackers. This is what we're going for. Kind of coarse breadcrumbs, a few lumps of butter in there, small lumps of butter. This is great. Now we have our cold water again. Drizzle that into your dough and then just mix it around until it comes together. The one thing I love about these crackers is the addition of the whole wheat flour, because it gives them a lovely nutty flavor. And then there's also more oils and fats in whole wheat flour, which is also adds extra flavor. This dough is a little bit on the drier side. It's gonna take around 4 to 5 tablespoons of water. That's why I kind of left that varying amount in the recipe. Ta-da! Do, 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 do. 3 for 3. Now I'm just gonna give that a little knead on the countertop. There we go, lovely. Now this dough just needs around 30 minutes or so in the fridge, not as much time. So if you want to use it after 30 minutes, it should be good to go. We just want to let those glutens relax and make it easier to roll. Okay, lovely, our wheat thins dough is ready. Divide it in half, make it easier to work with. We're going to do the same thing here that we did with our Cheez-Its, because we're cutting it into small little squares. is do it on your paper, because we are very smart bakers and we know this by now. Okay, now same again, roll it out as thin as you can. This is a really lovely dough to work with. I have to say I love working with whole wheat, and I use it more and more just in my everyday baking, especially with George. It has amazing flavor, better than plain white flour. It has a nuttiness, it has all of the nutrients in the bran and the endosperm, and it's just delicious. Here we go again with my ruler. I am never without my ruler. And we are going to cut these a little bit bigger than our Cheez-Its, so around 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. So with your pizza cutter, just cut all the way in one direction. Now turn it over this way, and we are going to cut this way. And remember, just like the other crackers, if you want to trim off the ends to flatten them, feel free to do that. And then with our skewer, here we go again with our skewer. I'm just going to do like 9 little holes in each one. Just do this really fast. You don't have to spend ages on it. Okay, lovely. Here I go again now. Oh, this is nice. There we go. Perfect. Onto our tray. Lovely jubbly. Everybody looking good. Let's get them into the oven. Bake your wheat thins off at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius for roughly 14 minutes or so until a light golden brown. While they're baking, roll out the other ones and then rotate them into the oven. Look at these lovely little crackers. They are so sweet. They're crisp, they're golden brown, and they smell even a little bit nutty because of that whole wheat flour that we used. They're perfect for a lunchbox, to put in your car if you're stuck in traffic, to take with you on the train, whatever it is, even to have a little bit of cheese. Once these cool down, these will also keep in an airtight container for up to a week. There's a reason these crackers are America's favorite, so definitely try and make them at home.
So we have covered breakfast, snacks, and lunch boxes, but there is a question that always comes up at the end of the weekday, which is, what's for dinner? I have a fantastic option for you that is guaranteed to please the whole family. Want crispy, customizable pizza to feed the whole family? This one bakes in one pan. I'm Gemma Stafford, professional chef with over 20 years experience, and I'm going to show you how to make this crowd-pleasing pizza at home. We'll press the store-bought dough into a pan, load it with sauce and toppings, and bake until golden and crispy. So let's get baking. Sheet pan pizza is designed to be an easy mid-week dinner. And what's easier than picking up a bag of pizza dough, some of your favorite toppings, sauce and cheese to make a delicious, heartwarming meal. So we're gonna start out by preparing our sheet pan because this all is baked in one big pan. Here I have 13 inches by 18 inches. It's just a standard cookie sheet. This is good to feed a lot of people, around 20 portions. To be able to get your pizza out of the pan, you do want to liberally grease it. It will also give your crust a lovely flavor with that olive oil. And definitely choose olive oil, not vegetable oil or sunflower oil. And then to buy us a little bit of extra insurance to make sure it comes out of the pan, I sprinkle some semolina, finely ground semolina. And this kind of works as traction to get the pizza out of the pan. It's often what I use when I'm using my pizza oven. I always put semolina on my pizza board. You just need a few sprinkles. There we go. I'm going to put the pan over to the side. And now we are going to work with our pizza dough. I'm going to roll mine out to make life easy for myself. So the key to this recipe is simplicity. So I have a bag of store-bought pizza crust. You can make your own too. I have many pizza dough recipes on my website, so you can go check those out. I've got no knead, I've got Detroit style, whatever you fancy, and depending on the time that you have. But if you really have little time, like I do sometimes with a 5-year-old in school and only a few hours to get my work done during the day, I go for store-bought. So just flour your surface and then roll out your crust. To roll out your dough to fit your pan, which is around 13 inches by 18 inches. Now, these are yeasted doughs, and yeasted doughs spring back. So let's fit it into our pan. Lovely. If it does spring back, cover your pan with a kitchen towel. Let it rest for 10 minutes or so. And during that time, the gluten will relax and then it'll be easier to stretch into your pan. But this is perfect. So lovely, that is our pizza crust. So now pizza sauce, use store-bought, use good quality. Rao's makes a good one, I really like that. But however, Gemma also makes a really good one. This is my 5-minute pizza sauce. It's made in a blender, no cooking.
no chopping. It's just so easy. It's really rich, has loads of flavor. Sometimes I find, depending on the brand, the pizza sauce doesn't always have the great flavor. It really should, because it's one of the main ingredients. When you're only talking about bread and some toppings, the sauce really needs to be very good. I love a lot of sauce. I can't stand dry pizza, so I'm gonna put lots of sauce on there. The pizza sauce recipe can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com. And I also have a video showing how to make it. Go all the way to the edge with that sauce. So for cheese, you can do shredded mozzarella, Parmesan and mozzarella, some Emmenthal. I sometimes put on my cheese pizzas if it's just cheese to really just enhance the flavor. A little bit of Irish cheddar and some mozzarella. They're really lovely blends together. Definitely, when it comes to sheet pan pizza that is feeding the family, just thinking about my family in particular, George loves a cheese pizza. So just go all out with the cheese. So one of the lovely things about making your own pizza at home is that it's customizable. And if it's in a big sheet pan, everybody can get exactly what they want. They almost even get their own little corner. So on my pizza, I'm going to put some cooked sausage because I just love sausage on pizza. I just use regular pork sausage. You can also do pepperoni. You can do no sausage. George is a big fan of Hawaiian pizza, ham and pineapple. I actually learned that actually it's not the ham and pineapple he wants, it's just the pineapple. He loves pineapple pizza. So you can do that too. You can put on some sliced peppers. This is a bit of a classic sausage, some sliced peppers, classic kind of pizzeria pizza. And then some sliced black olives. On biggerbolderbaking.com, where the recipe is, I'll give a variety of different toppings that you can use also to really mix it up. Also, if you're feeding a crowd and you have a lot of people coming over, do 2 or 3 sheet pans and you can really get creative. Maybe it's a sleepover party, if it's a kid's birthday party. This year, I'm all about ease and sheet pan baking. In December, I made sheet pan pancakes, which were so incredible. In January, I made sheet pan cookies, which were so delicious because you end up with just lots of gooey cookie and not a lot of crispiness. So it's just really my favorite type of cookie. Now we are doing pizza, and I'm also going to experiment with brownies. Lovely, that's it. Look at that, in no time at all, we've got pizza to feed an army. And the best thing about it is it takes no time to cook. So let's get it into the oven. Bake your pizza in a nice hot oven, 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 220 degrees Celsius for around 20 to 25 minutes. Sometimes I like to preheat a pizza stone and I put my tray on that to make sure the base of my pizza gets nice and crispy. My pizza is bubbling and golden brown, so I know it's time to take it out. This looks absolutely fantastic. What a lovely way to feed an entire family in one dish. The idea of using store-bought dough and pizza sauce really makes this dish so much easier. From start to finish, this meal takes 30 minutes. One of the great things is you can customize your own toppings and your cheese. Midweek, when you're pushed for time, but you still want something homemade to feed your family, this is it. Bread, tomato sauce, cheese, toppings. All those things add up to a happy fed family. Okay, breakfast, check. Lunch boxes, packed. Dinner, sorted. That only leaves one delicious thing, dessert. Hi Bowl Bakers, in front of me I have America's most favorite cookies, and this week I'm going to show you how to make a homemade version of each one. So the first cookie we're going to start out with is the classic Oreo. Now I don't think they've ever improved on the Oreo since it came out in 1912. It's been around a long time. So into a food processor, you can also do this by hand, but for best results I would say use a food processor. We're going to add in our flour, our white sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt. Our last dry ingredient I want to talk about is our cocoa powder. Now for this recipe, we're not using regular cocoa powder. I want you to use Dutch process or black cocoa powder. We need something really rich and dark. Oreos have a very unique flavor, and that comes from a rich, dark cocoa powder. I'm going to give those a little bit of a mixy mix. Now into this, we are going to add in our cold butter. Now this is the reason that we're doing it in the food processor, is because the butter has to be cold, and the food processor will just like whip it up really fast and get it into really small bits. So put on your hat, and we're just gonna blitz this up for a few seconds until it resembles fine breadcrumbs and you get like little lumps of butter everywhere. So there you go, super fine, and a few lumps of butter. You don't want to go too far, the butter will start to get soft, it will start to cream together, and we don't want that. Into this, we're gonna crack our egg. And again, we're just gonna blitz it up until it comes together and form a dough. When it clumps up and it forms a ball just like this, it is ready. Now I have my baking pan here ready to go, and I have a tablespoon scoop. And all we want to do is do 1 level tablespoon scoop of dough. Give it a bit of a smush on the tray and keep on scooping. The beauty of this dough is that it doesn't have to go into the fridge before you can use it. It's actually ready to go. So this dough will yield you around 40 to 48 cookies, something like that. And once you sandwich them together, you'll get around 20 to 24 finished Oreos. So this does make lots of cookies, but I'm just gonna bake off 2 trays today just to show you. Okay, lovely, these are looking good. We don't have to wait, let's get them into the oven. So you want to bake these cookies fan assist, which means convection, because you want to put multiple trays in at the one time at 325 degrees Fahrenheit and bake them for around 8 to 10 minutes or so. They don't take that long. While our Oreos are baking, we're going to take this time to make our buttercream frosting that goes in the middle of these lovely cookies. So here I have my stand mixer. Into this, I'm going to add in my room temperature butter, which is nice and soft. We're going to cream that on high speed just for a few minutes until it gets nice and light and fluffy. At this point, we can start to add in our powdered sugar slowly, spoonful at a time. This will take a few minutes, but it makes your frosting lovely and light and fluffy. Once all your sugar is in there, add in a little bit of vanilla extract for flavor. And then we're also going to loosen or lighten up our frosting with a little splash of milk in there. Now what I'm going to do is let this beat on high for a few minutes until it gets just really lovely and light. That's it. As you can see, this is a lovely fluffy frosting. This is perfect, and our timer just went off, so let's go check on our Oreos. Our Oreos smell amazing, but while they're still hot out of the oven, we're going to do a quick pan bang. And what that does, gives you those lovely crinkles on top. I'm super happy with those. Gosh, they smell amazing. So our cookies have cooled. I've got my buttercream frosting in my piping bag with a round nozzle. We're gonna flip a cookie over, do a smudge, a smidge, a smudge of frosting, sandwich, and you have a gorgeous homemade Oreo. So fun fact about the name Oreo. Nabisco never really explained where it came from. A lot of people think that the O's on the end are actually the cookies, so O's. And then the R-E in the middle is actually for the cream, C-R-E-A-M in the middle. So actually makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a pretty cool name. I think it's well fitting. So sounds good to me. These look fantastic and they smell amazing, but at the end of the video, we're gonna compare them to the real thing and see how they stack up. For right now, we're gonna move on to our next cookie, which is a homemade Nilla wafer. So this is a really simple cookie done by the creaming method. It's a little bit cakey, but ends up being crisp at the end. So into our stand mixer here, you can also do this using electric hand mixer, or you can do it by hand with a lot of elbow grease. We have room temperature butter, which is very important. We want it to be nice and soft. We're gonna cream this on high speed for around 2 minutes or so until it's nice and light and fluffy. So a Nilla wafer, originally known as a vanilla wafer, was created in 1898 by Nabisco, which is so crazy. And it wasn't until the 40s that Nabisco had a really smart idea to put a recipe for a banana pudding on the box of the Nilla wafers. And that's how they became this classic cookie to make a banana pudding with. I have a recipe on my website how you can make it completely from scratch. For those of you who never had banana pudding before, it's absolutely delicious. It's rich, it's creamy, and has these lovely Nilla wafers in the middle. It is a classic American dessert. So once your butter is really lovely and creamed like this, I'm gonna add in my powdered sugar. And just like before, we're gonna cream this on high until it's lovely and light and fluffy. So this is the texture that you want your butter and sugar. It needs to be really light and fluffy, just like this, before we add in our other ingredients. Back on high speed, we're going to add in our egg. Let that cream in before we slowly start to add in our egg whites. A little bit at a time until it all creams together. After the egg whites, add in your vanilla extract. Lastly, we're going to add our dry ingredients, which is our plain flour, all-purpose flour, and our salt. And then just let that dough come together. At the end, your batter should look like this, really creamy and thick and well combined. So I've transferred my Nilla wafers into a piping bag with a round nozzle. This is like a 1A, just any kind of medium-sized round nozzle. You really want to do this with a piping bag and nozzle. You can't really do it by hand, otherwise they'll be all weird shapes. It just keeps them uniform. I have 2 baking trays here, and I'm going to pipe on, just straight down, almost something that resembles a Hershey's Kiss. we're just piping straight down, pulling up. Piping straight down, pulling up. Piping straight down, pulling up. Okie dokie, these are all done. I'm gonna bake off 2 trays right now, but the batter does make a lot more. Let's get these little guys into the oven. Bake your Nilla wafers off at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 170 degrees Celsius, fan assist for roughly around 10 to 12 minutes until they're golden brown around the edges. Ta-da! Look at these, they look gorgeous. They're lovely and round, they're crisp. Once they cool, they'll get even crisper. They smell just like a Nilla wafer, which is vanilla. We're just gonna set these over to the side and we're gonna move on to our next cookie, which is a Chips Ahoy, an absolute classic. So Chips Ahoy is a classic American chocolate chip cookie created quite later than the others, 1963 by Nabisco. So I have all my ingredients here. The first thing I'm going to do is into my all-purpose flour, I'm going to add in my salt and my baking soda. Now, some of my most favorite chocolate chip cookies are just baking soda and no baking powder because it gives you that crinkle on top. Okay, I've got my stand mixer here. Now I'm going to add in my room temperature butter, and then we're going to add in our brown sugar. I like to use dark brown sugar for that extra flavor. It gives it kind of almost caramelly tones. And then our granulated sugar. Now we're just going to cream these up together on high speed until they're nice and fluffy. So this has been creaming for around 2 to 3 minutes. It looks really good, nice and fluffy. I'm going to add in my vanilla extract and I'm going to slow it down here. Then I'm going to turn it off and add in my flour. Turn back on the machine on like medium low, be careful not too high, and then just let that combine in there. Next we're going to add in our water. This gives you kind of like a gooey cookie, but also makes it crisp. And then we're going to add, lastly, our chocolate chips. So I just want to point out that I do have somewhat of a controversial baking TikTok out there where I say do not use chocolate chips in cookies. However, this is an iconic classic cookie and I'm going to do it the way that Chips Ahoy did it. So I'm using chocolate chips for this one. So my trays are ready, they're lined. I have my cookie scoop. And just like the Oreos, a leveled tablespoon. We're going to flatten it out a little bit, get these guys kind of roundy, just like that, like a little cookie, onto the tray. So the selling point of this cookie was Nabisco said that with every bite of the cookie, you're guaranteed to get chocolate chips in every single bite. And I think it's true. I do think when you get, a store-bought Chips Ahoy cookie, you do get one in every bite. Let's just see if you get one in every bite of my cookies. Okay, these little guys are lovely. Let's get them into the oven. So baking, same temperature as before, 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 170 degrees Celsius on fan assist. And you're going to bake these cookies for around 10 to 12 minutes. Oh, look at these guys. These look incredible. And I have to say there's a lot of chocolate chip chunkage going on in here. Okay, so hang tight because now is the moment of truth. I'm going to get our homemade cookies and I'm going to get our store-bought cookies. And we're going to see how they stack up against each other. I brought in Kevin to do a taste test with me because I thought it wasn't fair if I just do it by myself.
Gemma,
so,
it looks like you brought the cookie aisle home.
Isn't it crazy? I've always loved these. Do you have a brownie vibe to them? Yeah.
The buttercream is amazing. The originals, Oreos?
The buttercream is store-bought buttercream. They're crispy. I love that Oreo flavor, so much so that it inspired me to make these.
Yeah.
So a classic, but I can get down with the homemade from scratch version.
Also, yours is about 2.5 times bigger. So
what are you talking about?
Bigger is better, right?
Nilla wafers look the most closest to the original, don't they?
Yours, lovely. Nice and sweet.
Yeah.
Crunchy.
They're the exact same.
They really
They're
are.
the exact
Yeah, they really
same.
are.
The store-bought's a little bit drier, but mine are flour, eggs, sugar.
Right.
These are, look at all that.
I'm gonna have another word.
We have to save room for these guys.
Well,
Chips Ahoy.
good crunchy chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
I like your chocolate chip to cookie ratio here. I hadn't had Chips Ahoy in a long time, but that's exactly what I thought they would be, is pretty dry.
Yeah.
I've never been a Chips Ahoy fan, but I like yours better. Like they're a good crisp chocolate chip cookie.
Which is your favorite?
Always the Oreo. I think again, they may not be exactly the crisp Oreo you have, but these are a really good cookie.
And there you have it, the ultimate back to school recipe collection. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back here, same time, same place, for more bigger, bolder baking.